Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood, coming to you from the shop today, and we're going to discuss one of the biggest problems I've had with my xTool. I touched on it in my 4-month review, and I was working on a solution then, and I think I've got one, and I wanted to share it with you, fellow xTool users. Those not using the xTool, you might watch, you may have some issues similar with your air assist. If not, then maybe you'll just be entertained. So stay tuned and let's jump in here and see what's going on in the shop. So regular viewers know I have gone through 4 dust lenses and an actual lens on my laser module itself. So I've cracked 5 lenses in less than 5 months. I have tried to reach out to xTool. I have complained to xTool. xTool provided me with 2 free dust lenses, but they never acknowledged that this was unusual, abnormal, or offered to do anything in any type of way to assist me with my issues. So I've gone in search of a solution myself. So let me show you first what I think is happening. Take a look at this. Okay, so this is my xTool D1. Right now she is turned off. As you see, there's no red indicator light there. The only thing that's turned on is the air assist itself. And what I have here is some 80-pound cardstock. I found that using, and this is a tip, a huge money-saving tip. Cardstock is a very inexpensive way to test your patterns before you start cutting up your wood and your other more expensive valuables. There's a link in the description below for the cardstock that I use, and feel free to jump down there at the end of the video and get you some of this. But what I discovered using my cardstock is that whenever I was framing or using paper, I will frame without putting my magnets in place to hold everything down. Like so, just to keep the magnets out of the way. And once I know where's my framing area is, then I may place some magnets down there. But I would leave the magnets off the bed and out of the way until I was framed. And what I would notice is that when I got towards the edge of the paper, and I'll zoom in here where you can see. Again, sorry for the shaky cam, but this was the best way I've thought to show this. Now, just to show you that this is focused correctly, I'm going to put the kickstand down. Well, zoom out so you can see. There we go. Put the kickstand down. And there is the proper focusing according to xTool. She's fully extended, erect, proud. Anyway, so that's proper focusing point. But whenever this gets over to the edge of the paper, and you can hear the air assist is on. I'm trying to get the camera in its best position to see this. There we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah. Now you can see, and I'll zoom in maybe. All right. And I'm going to move the paper instead of moving the laser module. But as I would get close to the edge of the paper, I would notice that there, the paper begins to suck up. And look there, I'm not holding it. But that paper, and you can hear it is sucked up tight, and I'll zoom out. You can see there is nothing holding that up. There's no reason for that paper to be like that. And if anybody says, oh, I'll move it out of the way. You see the paper drop. Move it over here. Bring the paper over here to the edge. And there she is again, sucked right up. There's a hand, so ain't nothing holding it. And I'll do that from a distance so you can see. Knock it loose. And it just has to get close to the edge. And that paper will suck right up there. And stay there. Now I'm lifting it a little bit to get her up there, but it will do it on its own, especially when I have the air extraction going on and I've got vacuum being created under and around the other paper, more air movement going on. But what I'm demonstrating here is that if this air assist truly worked, then that paper would have no way of being sucked up there to that nozzle, because there should be enough pressure forcing it down and away, correct? What you have there is a vacuum. That is a vacuum, boys and girls, and I believe that vacuum is what led to all of my failed lenses. And see, I can even move that paper around and slide her, and she's staying sucked right up there to it. Once it sucks up there, she's up there. I'm not near the edge as much some more anymore. I'll keep moving it, and I'll even move the laser. And it keeps that paper there. It finally fell off. But this is a problem. And I'll show you why I think it is. I am not a professor of aerodynamics or physics, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So let's look at this. This in itself looks like it's not so much of an issue, but it is. All right, when this is your intake for the air supply, comes down and it has a 90-degree turn here, then it comes into the nozzle and exits the nozzle, and the air is being forced into this far side of the wall of the nozzle. And now once it hits there, that air is going to distribute equally in both directions, and actually in 360 degrees. It's going to swirl around inside of that nozzle instead of being forced straight out the bottom. It swirls around in there and eventually finds its exit out the nozzle. Well, now I want to show you a lot of the problems and flaws. So you see how large, and you know how large your hose is going into your supply. But have you ever noticed the inside, the hole? It's a fraction of that. Now let's pull this apart, and I'm going to have to put down the shaky cam. Okay, so unscrewed those, and I'll point out a couple of things. All right, so much smaller hole there. Now that's the threaded hole that goes in the nozzle, or that elbow screws into. Well, that's not even the size of the air inlet itself, or the exhaust. That little pinhole right there is the size of your exhaust and the supply for your air assist. So it's been reduced probably by, I don't know, 75, 80%. It's much, much smaller. There are a lot of problems with that. Now, those who are well versed in aerodynamics and the laws of air pressure are going to argue, well, that reduction of the ductwork, if you will, of the supply, by reducing that opening, you haven't changed the amount of air getting to it, but by reducing that size, you have increased the air pressure coming out, in theory. Well, actually, not even in theory, in practice, that's how you maintain air pressure. If you do air duct or duct work and heating and air in your house, if you ever pay attention and look at your duct work, they reduce the duct work the further you get away from the air handler, because that's how you maintain air pressure. Well, here they don't do a gradual step down like you see in your house or in any type of HVAC system. This is just an all of a sudden, bam, reduction by 80%. Well, yes, that increases air pressure, but it also creates a tremendous amount of turbulence, because what's happening is you have that reduction taking place right in here at the same point that you have this 90-degree turn. Well, whenever air pressure hits a hard dead stop, that creates turbulence, back pressure, and all kinds of mess with the aerodynamics as the air is fighting its way to find a way out. So now you've done that and you've restricted the amount of air coming out. That's problematic. Now I also want you to notice the black O-ring there. They thought it was important enough that that fitting where it screws onto the nozzle has an O-ring seal between it and the nozzle. However, they didn't think it was important to seal where the nozzle meets the laser head. Instead, when you put it on, they suggest you put a little bit of tape around it. Yeah, well, that's nowhere near as efficient as an O-ring or a proper seal, and each application is going to be different, and it just doesn't work efficiently. So I went in search of a better solution. And this is what I found, boys and girls. This is a 3D printed nozzle for the xTool, and it is a much, much better design. This has been redesigned at my request to make some small improvements over its initial design, and I feel like this is a huge, huge step in the right direction to make the xTool's Air Assist work more efficiently, more effectively, with a very, very little investment and not having to overhaul the entire system. Okay, so I have installed the new and improved nozzle, still using the original supply line from xTool, and even have it routed through their holder. And that's going to be necessary because you see how the line comes in here instead of coming straight down from the top. You do have a lot of curvature here, and this particular hose that was supplied in my supply kit from xTool is a hard plastic. I don't know if that what exact material is, but it's a very rigid but flexible hose, and that's the most you want to try and curve this. You can get about like that. And all I did there was just slide her up, and there we go. Now that is focused at the proper distance, just like the xTool. And so put our kickstand out of the way, and you can see there is the proper gap there. I'm trying to figure out a way. You can see the shadow underneath the nozzle, but it's focused correctly. But unlike the xTool nozzle, as I bring this paper closer to the edge, it does not suck up there and stay there. It will not get stuck to that nozzle. So that's telling me there's no vacuum there. So this is an improvement. It has to be. So I strongly recommend investing in these nozzles if you're going to continue to use the xTool. Whoop, sorry about that, folks. If you're going to continue to use the xTool and you're using the xTool Air Assist, now if you're not using the xTool Air Assist, this does not apply to you. This is only addressing those using this ridiculous setup from xTool. If you have this on your xTool, do yourself a favor, take that off, throw it away, invest in a nice, more efficient nozzle, and you may see a lot of productivity increase, the quality of your product increase, and no more issues, fingers crossed, with cracking lenses because of dirty, or even if there's no dust accumulating on the lens, that vacuum creating vacuum and sucking up any dust and debris is creating a smoky environment for that laser to have to penetrate through. It's cutting down on the efficiency. That's junk. Sorry, not sorry. That's junk. Get rid of it. Get you a nice 3D printed nozzle and see if your headaches begin to minimize. I ain't gonna say they're gonna go away because there are other issues with this equipment, but this one is a biggie, and this is how you fix it. Now, why is this better? Well, number one, this is got a piece. There we go. Number one, it's got no 90-degree bends in it. It fits on here on the laser just like so, and your air line's going to come in from the side. Focus, baby. There we go. And as you see, as it comes in, instead of a hard 90, there is a soft, gradual S-turn, or small curve there to start it down in a downward direction, and then again another small curve as it directs it straight out the bottom. There is no chance for that air to be diverted and move up into the nozzle of the laser and or in the direction of the laser lenses. So that nice fluid movement of the air is much more efficient than the nozzle that xTool provides. There is no set screws in this design. This uses a friction fitting or fit to slide up and fit nice and snug on the xTool lens, and it does fit very tightly, very snugly. You do not have to force it or lubricate it, but it does fit up there very tight. Now, I am continuing to pull this off and clean it daily because of the amount of use that I put the laser through, and I can see that over time a strict friction fitting will begin to lose its grip and need to be replaced. But these are inexpensive enough that replacing these ever so often and being able to have a more efficient and more effective laser is well worth the investment. In fact, I'm going to provide you with the links and description for buying these. And I'm sorry, my arm's getting tired, but I would strongly recommend the investment in these nozzles, and buy you a 2-pack. That way you've got one, you're using it, and on the day that you find that, hey, this doesn't fit as well as it should, you've already got one sitting there in reserve ready to put on. Then you can order a single replacement for future use. But by having a more efficient and more effective air assist, you're going to cut better, cut quicker, and you're going to have less burning and sooting going on your wood. So you're going to have a better finished product. You're going to have less lens issues. This is a no-brainer. And if a dumb redneck like me can figure this out, why the engineers at a big company that manufactures lasers, and actually I don't even know if they manufacture, they may just halfway design or pay people to design their stuff. I don't know. But even so, there was an engineer somewhere that come up with what xTool's providing, and he obviously did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express the night before coming up with the design. Go figure. So I found this 3D printing nozzle on Etsy, and I'm going to provide that link in the description below. Extremely nice fella. I am in no way compensated for this. I have not been, except for the fact that he has provided me with my nozzles at zero cost, because I was explaining to him what my situation was and how I think he could help me and how I thought I could help him. So I have not been compensated monetarily. I don't expect to be, and I don't want to be. He is a fellow creator who is making his way and cranking out things on his little 3D printer, and more power to him. I wish him all the success, and I hope that every one of you with the xTool D1 or the xTool checks out his site, and you give him so many orders that he's going to be hitting me up going, what did you do to me? So do yourself a favor. Check out the information below. Order you a 2-pack. I strongly recommend getting a 2-pack. That way you've got one in use and you got one ready to go when you need to put it up there. And if you don't suspect that this is going to be the fit for you, then buy one. See what happens. I don't think you'll go wrong. So I appreciate you watching. I hope this helps you with your xTool. It has helped me immensely, and I wish you the best. This has been Steve, Hobo with Wood, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, I'm out.